Sitting here, get my fat bitch on. One of the things that seems like it's a little less talked about right now, that Dingle Dongle McBongle Fongle, the vomiting bag of elephant vaginas, rescinded, was the 1964 Equal Opportunity Employment Act, signed into law by Lyndon Johnson. Now, what does that actually cover, you might ask? It prevented employers from discriminating against anyone based on age, sex, race, religion, pregnancy status, or country of origin. Covered everybody. A lot of women would be dismissed from their jobs because they were pregnant. They could also ask you if you intended to become pregnant because, you'd be a liability for their insurance. The thing that I could not believe is when I was in high school, I found some newspapers that my father had saved, dating back, basically to the beginning of World War II. And I was looking with my friend at some of the one ads in the newspapers from the early 60s. First of all, the one ads were segregated between men and women. The men's jobs were things like architect, surveyor, engineer, mechanic, things like that. They were high-paying jobs. A few of them said white and black men okay to apply. Not many. Then the women's jobs were there, and they were secretary, teletypist, punch card operator, front office help, file clerk, things like that you knew didn't pay very much money. But it got worse. The one job listing that I remember that was just jaw-dropping was under the women's ads, and it said, company in Omaha looking for slim, white, Protestant woman between the ages of 18 and 25 for our front office staff. What? Without the Equal Opportunity Employment Act, that was perfectly legal. Under the women's jobs, there were also very few jobs that said black women were allowed to apply. I don't know how a person of color got a job back then because there were so few offerings. Now, you could always go work in stockyards. And a lot of new immigrants and people of color did work there. That was a good job, but it was really dangerous. You could work in jobs that were dangerous if you were a person of color or a new immigrant. That's how they built the sewer system in New York City. That's how we built the Transcontinental Railroad. That's how we built the Hoover Dam. People of color and new immigrants have always done the most dangerous and lowest paying jobs in our country. In 1960, women made 60 cents for every $1 a man made. By 2024, we had raised it to 83 cents for every $1 a man made. But if you break it down by racial demographics, black women made even less. By rescinding this act, we didn't go back 2 or 3 steps. We went back more than 5 decades.